got some experience, and I'm not a scientist, but I'm interested in botany. I hate herbicides, but I've recognized over time that that's something that we're going to have to deal with if we want to control something that's very dangerous in our county. It's an environmental hazard. If we, it's a health and safety hazard. I think anybody that's concerned about herbicides is concerned about health and safety, and that's what we're concerned about. Unfortunately, the herb that we're talking about here, the weed that we're talking about, is dangerous enough to kill people. It's burned down towns, and I think most people in Casper now have realized that it's come to a time when we can't live with it there anymore. We're going to have our homes eventually threatened or destroyed, and the simple project at the dump is a place where seeds can be distributed on people's tires. People bring waste in there, and it's a distribution point, so it's a good place to start. And a lot of the problems with their homeowners over there are dealing with land that is public stewardship is in doubt. And if the state and county land, the county is a fairly minor part of that, but the state land where the gorse was controlled there, we wouldn't have the health and safety issue we have. So it's a balancing factor. I think, I don't know who else wants to speak to this, but there should be some credentials involved. Clearly, scientific credentials in the case of our ag commissioner, and botanical credentials in the case of our weed management personnel people, and then probably the main credential is having lived next door to this stuff and fighting it for a while, and trying to find various ways to deal with it. And unless you've done that, and I think that's why you've seen a change in attitude of local people, is unless you've done that, you just don't know what the stuff is like and how difficult it is to control. From the county standpoint, you're talking about seeds that last 25 years, or you can eliminate it in 2 or 3 years with some very minor amounts of chemicals. I would hope that maybe Mr. Benskin could describe the type of chemicals if there's some question about this. This stuff is, in many cases, not even detectable in a year or two after, a few months after it's put in. So it's not the kind of chemicals that we were all against for many, many years. It's a whole different ballgame. And I don't think we have any other choices anymore. So I have any questions from staff. I know many of you spent a lot of time on this, and Paul spent a great deal of time, and Supervisor Smith has. So I think it's time to go forward, and I hope you'll do that.
Thank you, Mr. Day. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Please step forward.
Hi, Julie Rogers, Mendocino County Fire Safe Council, and I gave you my spiel last time we were here. I just want to point out that the resolution before you has a lot of good stuff in it, apart from that little tiny thing about herbicides. And one of those good things is Planning and Building Services authorized to develop gorse removal guidelines that do not trigger the requirement for coastal permits. Fire Safe Council, as I told you last time, will receive next year $108,000 to do gorse removal work in the Casper area, and we're counting on the Planning and Building Department helping us with all the environmental requirement permit process type of stuff. And it's a huge project. It's going to be mostly done on private land and will be of great benefit to the people of Casper. So I hope that you'll approve this resolution today. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Always very bubbly and optimistic. Please.
Tara Athen, coordinator of the Mendocino Coast Cooperative Weed Management Area. I think our name describes our organization clearly. We are a cooperative weed management area. We work with the people who are our partners and the members of the community on a cooperative basis. We don't go in and tell people what they should do on their properties or really try to put pressure on. 3 years ago, when the weed management area got federal funding to get started, we ran a series of public meetings, and we held our first one in Casper. And everyone told me, boy, are you in for trouble there. And I had gotten some word about the history of the gorse issue there, and we had pretty much decided we're not even going to bring it up. We're not going to stick our hands into the fire, so to speak. So we went to this public meeting, and what the Casper residents who came to that meeting told us was that we need to deal with the gorse issue. There was nothing that was as important to them as that issue. And so we were reluctantly drawn into this in order to respond to the requests of the Casper community. And we've told them from the beginning that we didn't feel like we would be willing to spend our time on this unless we got confirmation from them that they were not going to come out and picket when we felt that it was necessary to do a responsible application of herbicide. And that was what we were told. Either they pretty much fell into two camps. One was, gee, I never thought I'd say this, but yes, there are situations where we really want people to go out and put herbicide on. The other one was, I can't in good conscience endorse herbicide, but I won't come out and oppose you if you decide to do it on somebody else's property. And that's pretty much all we heard. So based on that, for 3 years we've been talking, we've been reaching out to the community, we've been going out to some of the places and pulling this stuff up by hand, donating blood along the way, and mapping, getting funding. We now have the funding. We're looking forward to moving ahead, and I would hope to welcome the county as a cooperative partner in the effort to get rid of gorse in Casper. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sathan. Any other members of the public? Okay, I'll bring this item back to the board for any action. Supervisor Smith.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, given all of the comments today, I will make the recommended motion.
Second.
Okay, there is a motion by Supervisor Smith and a second by Supervisor Delbar. Discussion to the motion from the board. Supervisor Pinches, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick comment. I agree with one of the former speakers up here. I hate herbicides. That's all I'm going to say. Everybody knows my position.
Wow, thank you, Supervisor Pinches. Supervisor Kovacs.
I'm a little bit disturbed at the notion here that we can presume that scientific leadership here has been, will protect us from whatever problems may arise. I think the history of herbicide use of chemicals in the environment, I don't know of any proposition that's ever been brought forward to talk about the application of herbicides has ever been defined as we're going to do an irresponsible application of herbicides. Every application of herbicides is, from the perspective of those who are advocates for it, is responsible. I remember growing up on a farm where we got rid of the flies during the hay season by coming in and just spraying all over the place chemicals right over the farm workers' table here where the corn was spread out. That was responsible. We're trying to make a living. People were trying to make a living. Workers need to be protected.